Good morning, Mike and Arlen, our Philippine journey. Thanks so much for joining us. We haven't put out a video in a couple of days because I haven't been feeling well and I've been researching a couple of different things, all kinds. But what are your odds? All right. What is the likelihood of you coming to the Philippines and finding that perfect Philippine woman, Filipina? I think you're going to be surprised. I really and truly do. And I don't think you're going to like it, but it is what it is. So let's talk about it.
Why'd you have to go? I guess this world's too slow for you. I think there's beauty in the gray, the cold, but you just want the gold. And there's no way I can beat it, cause I got no chance, no chance when it comes to her. She got the glitter and the fame, and I just wasn't enough.
Okay. With everything being said, a couple of things that have to be clarified. Number one, all of the data that we are presenting to you came from the Philippine Statistic Authority, of which I will put the link below. In addition to that, we used a couple of other sources to help us extrapolate, and we used a couple of other sources that defined certain age groups that the PSA doesn't publish. We had to go into the actual data that the PSA, the Philippine Statistic Authority, put together. Number two, if you appreciate the effort, the information, the satire, the humor, whatever, please do subscribe. We'd certainly appreciate it. And hit that thumbs up. It would help a lot. Okay, let's take a look at some of the basics here. All right. Number one, here's the actual worldometer of population. Okay. Now, the Philippine statistic, the last census done in the Philippines was in 2022. All right. But with that being said, the PSA isn't the greatest at gathering information. In other words, there was a lot of reporting. They just aren't as capable of counting every single person. So we're going to use the PSA numbers, but that's where we're at with it. So here's where we start to get down to the nitty gritty. And keep in mind, we're going to present this in the end when we get done. All of this will be presented in some simple facts. So hang on and take a look, because you're gonna be surprised. Okay. So what's important here in this particular slide is that between the age of 15 and 64, working age or economically active population was 69 million people. Okay? All right. That's good. 69 people. 69 million people. But how many were women? Now, they only publish reproductive age, 15 to 49. We had to go into their data itself and take out everything or the counts under 20, and we took it down to, I think it was 38. You'll see in the end. Okay. So that took the number down to 27.85 million. And women. Now, this was segregated, male and female, 27. So now you're down to 27 million choices. That ain't that bad. I mean, shit, that's a lot of choices, right? You know, your odds should be pretty damn good, right? Well, let's take a look at the next piece. Of that 20 some odd million, okay, 50% of those people, all right, or roughly, okay, live in the rural area. So now, depending on where you live, that 27 million gets cut in half. Never married. All right. Among the never married, a 54%, 46% were observed in 2020. 19 million males were single, 16 million females in 2020. But then we're still talking about the entire number. So we had to break it down even more. So let's take a look at that. The total population is 119 million. There's 69 million between the age of 15 and 65. But when we broke it down to females between the ages of 20 and 38, which is, I would think, the target range for many, many expats or foreigners coming, it's 24.6%, or it's 8 million women. Still, those are great odds, all right? They're incredible odds. 8 million women to choose from. Except, all right, of that 8 million, 20 to 30, 46%, only 46% were non-married. So now you're down to 3 million, but still, those are good odds. I mean, come on, 3 million. Well, after that, 56% of them live in rural areas. And while a lot of expats want a simpler way of life, there are realities of dating and getting into relationships of women from rural areas that are difficult. There's education levels, there's economic levels, there's all kinds of stuff to consider in there. But the final part of that is that there are 14,250,000 single mothers in the Philippines. So you've got to circulate how that works. Of the, if we go back one more time, of the 3 million women between ages 20 and 38, guess what? The estimate by the Philippine government is that there are somewhere between 800,000 and 1 million sex workers in the Philippines. Now, how they define, I think that what they do is they define sex workers as being in a transactional situation. How they define it exactly is different. But you still got to cut that number in half. All right? You really and truly do. I mean, you've got to cut this 56% of the 3 million. Now your numbers are getting far less. And finally, with that being said, what are your odds now when that starts to decrease that way? Now, certainly we could say there's at least a couple of million women that have never been married, all right, don't have they also define it as no live-in partner and not married. But 1.5 million, 2 million scattered across the entire Philippines. What are you going to do? How are you going to even those odds? Because you're going to be competing against all the other guys. You're going to be competing against Filipinos. I mean, don't be thinking that your Social Security alone is going to make you a financially desirable individual all the time. Certainly it will for some, but not for all. There are plenty of Filipino men who have solid doctors, lawyers, airplane pilots, I mean, the list goes on. Nurses that they make a living, and they're going to be more desirable in many instances than you are. You're coming to the Philippines, you have no desire to bring a Filipina back to the U.S. One of the major factors there is they want to come to the U.S. for a better life. So the odds go lower and lower and lower. And I don't know how else to explain it. I really don't. It's not all gloom and doom, for sure. There are thousands of men who come to the Philippines and fall in love. There are thousands of men who actually go online through dating apps years in advance of coming to the Philippines to find a woman to engage into a conversation and a long distance relationship. There are all kinds of things. All I'm saying is that the odds are not as good as you think. And the less desirable you are, by whatever standard you want to measure it, the odds get even worse. I don't know. Tell you what, you tell us in the comments below, do you feel that it's the same now as it was 10 years ago for you? Would you have found the same thing? Do you feel now it's worth the risk to come and find? Do you even want to find a relationship? How about telling us? Let us know. Tell us what you think about it. We'd really appreciate it. Otherwise, we hope you have a great day.